Welcome to today's discussion on working with HTML text. Everything which is there on the web page will be influenced by the hypertext markup language. Earlier we have already seen some tags, but there are numerous tags, numerous languages that will influence your web page functionality, including its look as well as portability across many browsers. So today what we will be looking at is that what are the different ways HTML can influence the text that is available on the web page. A HTML element is defined by a start tag and then some content and an end tag. A HTML element not just defined by start tag and some content and end tag, but there may be many tags in between also. So to start with, yes, there is a start tag of HTML, then ending also you will find some ending tag HTML, then in between you will find the content, but in the content you will also find some HTML tags. The HTML element is everything from the start tag to the end tag, and then you may have some headings, and the first heading can be treated as H1 tag. You may have many text paragraphs which will be denoted as paragraphs to the browser by HTML by the usage of the p tag, and p tag is having both starting tag as well as the ending tag denoting the entire paragraph. So some HTML elements have no content. For example, BR tag, it does not have content, it indicates something to the browser and the browser will act as per the description of the BR tag. So these elements are called empty elements, and empty elements do not have an end tag. Then as I already told you, when you have a starting HTML tag, you also have a ending HTML tag. Then you also have a body tag. Now in between you may have many tags, and these tags can be treated as the nested elements of HTML. So HTML elements can be nested. This means that elements can contain other elements. All HTML documents, they consist of nested HTML elements. For example, just think that you are putting a heading. When you are putting a heading, it is nothing but it is the text on the web page. So it comes under the body tag. So you have a opening HTML tag, then you have a body tag, then you have a heading. So heading is in between the H1 tags, then you have a paragraph, it is in between p tags, followed by a body, followed by a closing HTML tag. The most important thing is that to know which tags have both starting and ending tags and what are the empty tags. So wherever there are empty tags, don't worry, but wherever the tag is having both starting and ending elements, you have to be sure that but you closed that particular tag definitely, otherwise the web page may be rendered in an indeterminate manner. Just think of a HTML tag. So when you have a HTML tag, ensure that the ending tag is also present. Think of a BR tag, it does not have an ending element, so there is no problem. So wherever ending tags are there, ensure that they are definitely present. In case you skip something, then don't be sure that the web page will be displayed in a proper manner. And also never rely on the unexpected results, because unexpected results and errors may occur if you forget the end tag. Empty HTML elements. When I said empty HTML elements, I have already told you one example, that is the BR tag. Basically BR tag, it defines a line break and is an empty element without a closing tag. So when you consider a HTML element, you can divide them into different categories. One category being those elements with both starting and ending tags, and another category being those tags which are starting but they don't have ending tag. And be sure that You use one case for your entire HTML and always prefer the lower case, though it is not mandatory. I want to tell you that HTML is not a case sensitive language. HTML tags are not case sensitive. The HTML standard does not require lowercase tags. However, World Wide Web Consortium recommends lowercase in HTML and demands lowercase for stricter document types like extended hypertext markup language, which is denoted as XHTML. Now let us have a look at the different attributes of hypertext markup language. All HTML elements, they can have attributes. Attributes provide additional information about elements. Attributes are always specified in the start tag. Attributes usually come in a name value pairs, like a name is equal to some value. For example, let me say there is some variable z and you are assigning a value 5 to it. So you will have z is equal to 5 in double quotes. One very important thing is that if we apply common sense, you consider an image. So an image is having several attributes. Its dimension, its colors, what happens if it could not be displayed. So all these are additional attributes that come under image tag. So from that perspective also you can always inquire, because you may not be able to find all the attributes that are possible for a particular tag. But if you apply common sense and think that this should be an attribute of this tag, then you will be able to definitely find it out. It is also possible that in the websites we refer to other pages. So these are nothing but they are hyperlinks, and we define them using anchor tag, that is A. The href attribute specifies the URL of the page the link goes to. Then we have the source attribute, that is where that particular content resides. You think of an image. So there is an image somewhere else and you want that image to be displayed on your web page. So the source is the URL of the page or the exact path to the image. So that comes under the SRC attribute of the image tag. Suppose you are directly putting the image, then also there is some path, because it needs to point out to that particular folder where it is residing. So the image tag is used to embed an image in a HTML page. Image tag can be denoted as IMG tag. Whenever I say IMG tag or HTML tag, you have to remember that they are enclosed between the angular brackets, and most of them have ending tags also. In the case of ending tag, you have the opening angular bracket and then a left slash and then IMG closed by the right angular bracket. So you have to also think whether the tag that is indicated is having an ending tag or not. In most of the cases there will be an ending tag. There will be some exceptions where there will be no ending tag. So whenever we want to display an image, we can say that IMG SRC is equal to the name of the image or the path to the image, so that at that particular place in the web page that particular image is displayed. There are two ways to specify the URLs in the SRC attribute. Once again, I would like to say that URL stands for Uniform Resource Locator. One is absolute URL. Absolute URL means give the entire path, entire URL as the source. So an absolute URL links to an external image that is hosted on another website. So for example, let me say http://www.igno.ac.in is the website, and there you are finding an image to which you want to link up your web page, so that that particular image is displayed on your web page. So you have to just go to your HTML code. There IMG SRC is equal to, in double quotes, http://www.igno.ac.in / the remaining path to that particular image. External images might be under copyright. So if you do not get permission to use it, you may be in violation of the copyright laws. In addition, you cannot control external images. It can suddenly be removed or changed. Suppose that the image is removed, then somebody who goes to your web page, you will not be able to find that image, and once that image is not there, the remaining text may get disturbed and your website may look awkward. So it is always good to design your own images and refer them in your own web pages. Now there is something called a relative URL. Links to an image that is hosted within the website refers to the relative URL. Here the URL does not include the domain name. If the URL begins without a slash, it will be relative to the current page. For example, if you say that src equal to between the double quotes img.jpg, then this particular image img.jpg refers to the current page. So whatever is path to the current page, the same path will be applicable to this particular image also. However, if the path is different, then we have to indicate the entire path. Always indicate that part of the path which is relatively different from the current path. If the URL begins with a slash, it will be relative to the domain. For example, src is equal to in between double quotes, it starts with a left slash and left slash image.jpg, then it is relative to the current domain. It is almost always best to use relative URLs because they will not break if you change the domain. If you put the absolute values, any change will have to be reflected in the code, which is cumbersome because in real life the code will be very lengthy. Then if we consider an image, there are height and width also that needs to be mentioned. So for that we have a separate width attribute, we also have a separate height attribute. For example, I can say that img src is equal to within double quotes the name of the image or path to the image space width tag, that is width is equal to between double quotes I can say 600. It means that I am indicating that the width is of 600 pixels and then height is equal to within double quotes I can say 800 pixels. So this will be accordingly displayed on the web page. Now suppose the browser doesn't want to display images due to the settings it is having, then we need to specify the text that needs to be displayed instead of the image. For that we will be using the ALT attribute. So ALT attribute will be having some text indicated. That text will be displayed when the corresponding image tag is not functional or image is not present or image is not permitted to be displayed. For example, img src is equal to the location of the image, then ALT is equal to within double quotes saying that will be back very soon. So suppose that particular image cannot be displayed, then this particular string will be displayed instead of the image. This is what the ALT attribute does. You can treat it as an alternative to the display of the image whenever it is needed. Now suppose you don't use ALT attribute and the image is missing, then what happens is that the page will look awkward because something else will be displayed there and each browser will perform in a different manner, and that may not be desirable from the programmer perspective or even a person who will be watching the particular website. Then the style is one of the most important attributes because the font which you use, the size of the font you use will also change the perception of the person who visits it. Some people may not be comfortable with a particular style. So in case you know that people are using a particular font and font size, then you can set it in the style attribute. The style attribute is used to add styles to an element such as color, font, size and many other things. For example, I can say that p style is equal to double quotes color colon red, close the brackets and say that this is the red paragraph because I have set the style to the color red. So anything that is displayed will be displayed in the red font. In case you want to have a different font like a blue, then you edit this file and replace red with blue. Then we have a lang attribute. So lang attribute is nothing but it is the language attribute. We should always include the language attribute inside the code because it will declare the language in which the page is going to be displayed. Because this particular language attribute, when it is included in the HTML tag, it will give a lot of assistance to the browser so that browser knows in which language the content is going to be placed. Even country codes can be displayed. For example, if you consider English language, often you will find that is it a UK version or is it a USA version. So even those things you can place them within the lang attribute so that browsers render them appropriately. Then we have a title attribute about which we discussed earlier also. Every web page will be having some title and that title can be placed as part of the title attribute. So the title attribute defines some extra information about an element. The value of the title attribute will be displayed as a tooltip when you move your mouse over that particular element. For example, we can say that P, that is a paragraph, title is equal to I am a student of IGNOU. So this can be displayed as the title of your web page and then followed by that text which will form the paragraph. Always use the lowercase attributes. In fact, whenever you are typing the HTML, ensure that the HTML is in lowercase. At the same time, it is not mandatory that you use it, but it is only a suggestion. Always quote the attribute values, don't leave them open. So always put the attribute values in the double quotes. Attribute you don't need to put, but attributes value you need to put. For example, image is there, you want to indicate the height of the image. So the word height will not have any quotes, but the value of that particular tag has to be put in the quotes so that it can be treated as some particular value and can be applied to the content. Otherwise, the HTML standard does not require quotes around attribute values. However, World Wide Web Consortium recommends quotes in HTML and demands quotes for stricter document types like extendable, hypertext, markup, language. Even if you don't put quotes, sometimes it works. However, sometimes you have to use quotes and you may have to have also some title so that everything is put in the HTML code in a perfect manner so that the corresponding web page is rendered in a perfect manner or at least in a manner that is not awkward, and you can always improve by making updates to your background or backend code. When I say backend or background, I don't mean anything different. I am speaking about the HTML code that rendered the particular web page. Should I use a single quote or double quotes? This is one of the questions, but you can use any of them. Normally double quotes are used, but there is no issue even if you use a single quote. But sometimes it may be necessary to use single quotes. Wherever you think it is necessary, you use the single quotes. Otherwise, it is always suggested that you use double quotes. Then we can have 6 levels of headings. I have already spoke about H1. H1 will be of the larger size. Then you can have subtitles which can be H2, H3, like that you can nest until H6. So H1, H2, H3, H4, H5 and H6 are the HTML tags which indicate headings, and whenever you use the tag among the H1 to H6, the appropriate text will be displayed in the corresponding size. HTML headings has a long to do because they will enhance the understandability of the content on the web page. So headings are very important and use them appropriately. Browsers automatically add some white space or a margin before and after a heading. In case you want a bigger heading, you can always use H1. Each HTML heading has a default size. However, you can specify the size for any heading with the style attribute using the CSS font size property. I used the word CSS. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheet, that we will be discussing later. A paragraph always starts on a new line and usually a block of text. So the HTML paragraphs are no exception, and they are also rendered in the same way. The HTML element defines a paragraph. A paragraph always starts on a new line, and browsers automatically add some white space or a margin before and after the paragraph. P is having an ending tag also. Then we have horizontal rules. We can create a line, we can create a horizontal line between the pages, we can divide them. So the HR tag defines a thematic break in a HTML page and is most often displayed as a horizontal rule. The HR element is used to separate content or define a change in the HTML page. The HR tag is an empty tag, which means that it has no AND tag. Wherever you mention HR, you will have a horizontal rule. Then we have line breaks. Line breaks are very important. They enable you to start on a fresh line. So line break can be indicated with the BR tag. So if you want a line break, then you can use BR tag. If you want a line break without a paragraph or without a new paragraph, strictly use BR. In case you want to have a paragraph started after the line break, then the BR tag can be followed by the P tag. So the BR tag is an empty tag, which means that it has no AND tag. The HTML style attribute is used to add styles to an element such as color, font, size, and many more things. So the HTML style attribute is very important, and you can set the attributes of this particular one in such a manner that the look of the overall website enhances a lot. It is very much important to select the proper background color. In case the proper background color is not chosen, the people may go away from your website. I have to say that the home page of any website is very important, and be sure to use the right combinations of the elements so that people stay there and also go to the other pages. In fact, to be very clear, take your own time and ensure that each and every web page of the website is designed in a perfect manner, though not possible to make it 100% perfect, but at least to that level of satisfaction for which you are looking at. So the CSS background color property defines the background color for a HTML element. It is possible to set the background color for a page to red or blue or any other color. It is also possible to set the background color used for two different elements also. So now let us see what color in which the text is displayed. Again we have the CSS color property, which defines the text color for the HTML element. There are large number of colors and you can use any of them for making the text visible in that particular color. It is also possible to set the font of the text using the CSS font family property that defines the font to be used for a HTML element. It is also possible to define the size of the text, because sometimes we use the font size to increase or decrease it. The same is the case on the HTML also, that we use the CSS font size property that defines the text size for a HTML element. We can make it a 300%, we can make it a 160%, we can make it a 100%. So as we want, we can do that, and we can do that wherever the text is displayed. Wherever there is text, there we can use this particular style tag and use the appropriate property of the CSS to set the text size appropriately. Then text size alignment is also very important, because it defines the horizontal text alignment for a HTML element. For that we use the text align property of CSS. So these are the things we use, and then there are several formatting elements also. Let us just go through some HTML formatting elements. Like one is V, which is for bold text, then strong tag for important text, then we have I tag for italic text, then EM tag for emphasized text, then mark tag for marked text, Then we have a small tag for a smaller text. We have del tag for deleted text. Then we have ins tag for inserted text. We have sub tag for subscript text. Then we have sup tag for superscript text. So these are some elements that can be used to format the text also. So apart from this, there are large number of formatting elements that can be gone by you as you need them. First of all, practice using these tags or using these elements. Then you dwell through different elements. Otherwise, you take a magazine, look at the text, try to exactly design a page which renders the text the way it is being done in the magazine. Like that also you will learn a lot of things that are not just basics. It is also possible that we quote entire block of the text. For that we can use the HTML's block quote element which defines a section that is quoted from another source. Normally browsers indent the block quote elements. So today we have seen how to work with text using HTML, and in the future discussions we will be dwelling more deeply into what all other possibilities available when applying HTML to the design of web pages. Thank you very much.